about subjects of interest to me. My friends and family claim that they're worried about their families. Really, if they were worried about their families, they would have worked together with me to turn these people in. Do I believe a single one of the people who told me that people are threatening to kill them and their kids? No, I don't. Because they never once made an effort to come forward and turn it in, to show that I am being harmed and that people were trying to help me, but that police officers were harming them, scaring them, intimidating them. The police knew exactly what resources I needed to turn them in. That's why Scott DaCosta tried to intimidate Dallas. Tried to play let's make a deal with Dallas. Oh, don't let him use that little trailer that he tried to turn me in from. Don't let him use the internet where he recorded it on. Don't let him use the computers or the power outlet out there. And I just won't let them put the stuff about it happening at your address down on your child paperwork. Yeah, he was in trouble because his ex-wife, Harley Richmond, was drinking and driving, 5 kids in the vehicle, one of them a newborn, passed out at the wheel. Yeah. He kicked her out of the house. It wasn't her house. He moved out of her place, got his place, and that's when I moved in with him. A year later, when she got in trouble with the law, me and Dallas didn't want the reputation hurting him or her or their ability to have the kids. We discussed that. It wasn't me who did something wrong. It was Harley who did something wrong, and it was me and Dallas who had to pay for it, as well as the kids. See, when you're in a subservient environment like that, and people want to paint you as a violent and dangerous person who will hit the kids, you get to see how over and over and over again, people who were predatory towards me, who had kids, this happened to. Cops harassed them on their way to take their kids to school. Harassed them at work. Look at Candace Bonder on it. Fucking petrified her. She flipped shit and gave me less than 24 hours to get my shit packed up and get out of there. Laura Nelson's the one that gave me a ride from there down to Todd Ryan Case's house. Well, Chloe Pachova's place. There was a lot of people involved. And repeatedly, police just over and over and over again intimidated and threatened and lied to people who were trying to help me. Scott DaCosta tried to prevent me from turning them in. The state police wouldn't allow me to turn them in. I was trying to turn them in for corruption. It's not just policies that were broken. They fucking hurt me repeatedly. They went out of their way to allow my predators to harm me repeatedly. To tell me it's not against the law. That this is civil stuff. No, it's not. I can't defend myself. There's nothing civil about this. According to law, they have to step in. But instead, they pretend I'm not that disabled. But I'm magically that disabled when they want to prevent me from turning in fucking crimes. People threatening to fucking kill me and my family is not fucking civil. That is shit the cops need to pay attention to. And when these predators are allowed to do it over and over again because the cops didn't want to do their jobs years ago, no, you do not get to blame the fucking victim. The first time there was an issue with Molly, the cops should have done something. But they didn't. They sent me on a mental health circle that has continued to this day. forcing me to go to homeless people who can't fucking take care of themselves. And these are the people I got to go to for help. I have to depend on junkies and addicts because the people who I'm trying to turn in won't recognize that I am fucking disabled. They take advantage of the fact that my disableds prevent me from doing what they're wanting me to do, what they're asking me to do. That my monetary income makes it an impossibility for me to keep doing this. They want to pretend like I can just move. No, I can't. I am a dependent adult. Dependent. I can't defend myself, and I cannot take care of myself. Now, some of y'all may have noticed that you can't type anything in this video. There's a reason for that. I don't need fucking distractions and trolls. I made this channel to try to get fucking help. Because mental health wasn't doing shit but taking advantage of me for your tax dollars. They can't spend any of that money to investigate the crimes against me. Can't spend any of that time doing so either. They refuse me to have adequate time to turn in my predators. Yes, it'll take a while. The longer it takes them to take it seriously, the more crimes are committed against me, and the longer it takes. When I was victimized by Molly at Fred Meyer's, I'm the one who had to pay up. When I was victimized over at the Fred Meyer's by Vicky Rain, I'm the one who had to pay up. I am glad that Jason Scudder showed up because I could not have done that myself. I could not physically have done that. All of these people take advantage of the fact that I can't physically take care of myself. A therapist who won't listen. Mental health workers that won't listen. Social workers that won't listen. Police that don't listen. This is what it's like being a homeless man in America. You tell people what your problems are. If they had that problem, they would get help immediately. You go to them with the exact same problem that they would fucking freak out about. But you have to say it calm. Because if you're freaking out, you're arrested. A man isn't allowed to freak out. A woman plays victim. We teach girls to do this. If she plays victim, you will destroy a man's entire life and take away all of the evidence that it takes to turn her in. And you will take away everything that it takes for him to transport himself to these places. And you will eat up all of his money, making him go around in a bunch of circles. I can't get a lawyer. I am called mentally ill. No fucking lawyer is going to goddamn touch this without a friend or family member calling it in with me. No police officer is going to help me without a friend or family member calling it in with me. No social worker is going to help me without a friend or family member calling it in with me. What I needed was a friend or family member to call it in with me. Every time I went to them, I explained that. I need someone to call it in with me. Preferably somebody who's a witness. You are a witness. Oh, they won't listen to me. You're a witness. They have to. By law, they should have talked to these people to begin with. But how's that going to happen when they're not going to take their names, or when they're going to grill me until I can't speak. When I'm being grilled, the more they grill me, the more I'm afraid I am to tell them the truth, because they're digging for excuses not to do their jobs after they've antagonized it a bit. And at that point, I can't remember names and numbers off the top of my head, and they're going to have to give me a minute. They won't give me a minute. They'll start talking over me and bullying and badgering me again. Autistic people can't defend themselves against this. We can't. There is no possible way. You grill us like we're bad guys because we're retarded. Except we're not fucking retarded. We have communication difficulties, especially when you bully and badger us. When people are already busy making excuses why they can't do anything when they haven't let you finish. Or of course, they start feeling the heat because they only apportion 50 minutes to this. They can't do the mandated reporter thing in time because they have another patient or another client immediately after this. So of course, they got a lot of anxiety because here they're supposed to be doing a job legally and they're not doing it. Now they're trying to dig their way out. It's someone else's job. God, I got to pawn this off on somebody else. Somebody else who's got patients stacked up back to back to back. Oh yes. Oh. God, I wish women could grow beards. I really do. Ladies who are dating men with beards and men who are dating men with beards. You want to hear a man purr? Tickle his beard. Now let's get back on topic. Ashley yesterday, when I went there and I tried to explain it that I needed room, she said I could come back at noon. I asked her about making copies of that paperwork. She said that she could when I come back at noon. I came back at noon with the intention of speaking with her. It wasn't her. She did send me to her room when we got there a little afternoon. And James Roberts and I went in there. And we sat down. And James is right. He didn't get the opportunity to speak. That guy wasn't having it. And that's one of the things about going in there with a stranger or someone you don't know too well. You know, it's not somebody who's actually going to fight for your rights. And he's right. He's right. They didn't give him an opportunity to speak. And, you know, you also got to hear me in that conversation telling him, well, I also didn't. But the guy wasn't wanting to hear it. And this is the thing about being sent to care for so many different things, is that all of these agencies, all they do is refer you to other agencies. And then they claim that they can't tell these other agencies that all they can do is refer us to other agencies. And they go, oh, all we do is housing, all we do is housing. Or they go, oh, we have all these fun programs, see? Do you like to do this? Do you like to do that? Hey, hold out. Stop changing the subject. Abuse. This is what we need to focus on. Now also, with that lady, I wanted to discuss with her the ability and availability of that room and how long I could use it. Because I don't have the ability to do that myself, which most of my predators have those abilities. Alicia Bollinger and all her cronies, yeah, a lot of them had houses and would let her sit down in those places if she didn't have a place of her own. Lots of people called her up to help her. Lots of people assisted her. Nobody actually assisted me. Not one person actually assisted me in turning anything in or filling out a single piece of paperwork for that entire time. In between when I first started trying to get help, stopping that in Chesapeake, Virginia in 2016, all the way until August of 2018, when I finally literally had to break the law and literally had to threaten to kill the President of the United States to get someone to take it seriously. Because I was forced to call the cops alone. I had to call the FBI alone. I had to go to the therapy appointments alone. I needed to have a friend or family member there with me to help explain it, instead of these people getting to rubber stamp me in a room alone. They should have listened to my friends and listened to my family, instead of listening to my predators. I am fine with them listening to my predators as long as they listen to me too. And if they had done that, they had realized that my predators were all lying and they were all taking advantage of me. With James Murphy stalking me from Hood River, cops there would do nothing about it. They're the ones who started the situation. And of course, they sent me through months and months and months and months of it's nobody's job and it'll take an act of God. And then finally, after I'd been there for months, it was, oh, well, it's just, you pay some money and you can buy it from the county. You just fill out this paperwork. Well, I've gone to try to fill out this paperwork. They make it fucking impossible and they try to talk you out of filling it out and turning it in. Meanwhile, I don't have a parent or guardian, which is what I fucking need. A parent or guardian to help me with that. I can't function. Being stuck alone in public and afraid, I have the mental abilities of a 5-year-old. Not the mental capacity, the mental abilities. You want to tell me pretty things like, oh, well, fear is just a state of... Fuck you. You're not going through this, and you're not listening to what I'm going through. I'm quick to judge now. I'll judge you back, because you're judging me. Every time you ask questions, your questions show what it is that you're thinking. Shows what it is that you're thinking about while I'm speaking. And most of the time, it goes right along the lines with it. But I'm already trying to answer those questions, and it's a complicated situation. And it's complicated because people keep interrupting. I didn't want to post up the names of all of the victims or all of the predators all over the internet. What I wanted to do was turn it into the cops and have them do their jobs. But when you're a homeless male who's called mentally ill, they know that you have no money for a fucking lawyer. They will do whatever they want to you. They got to prey on the slander all over the internet, claiming that I had resources that I didn't and abilities that I didn't. That somehow magically, when Natalie died, I got tens of thousands of dollars like hell I did. I didn't get one fucking red cent. Those Natalie Bollinger groups, yeah, that was part of the gang stalking, but they were also doing this on my Facebook and making fake accounts to fucking harass me. And they still do that to this fucking day. People want to judge me because I made 2 accounts. And both those accounts, I admitted who I was and why I was getting a hold of them, to beg for help stopping the abuse. After Natalie's death, someone should have helped to preserve that evidence. Someone should have helped to preserve it beforehand. Instead of these people pretending that I'm a predator because I had to do that desperate shit to turn in hundreds of people who are harming me. Every mental health worker who blew me off and made me go back again and again and again, like Nicole Peralta. Again and again and again. Nicole Gerald, I had at least a dozen phone calls with her. There's also Jeff Ritter. I mean, this stuff happened across multiple jurisdictions, multiple counties, and multiple states. I'm not allowed to bring up anything that they did in any of them. I'm not even allowed to go to my fucking court dates. I have literally been prevented because of threats, harassment, and intimidation and incarceration from going to every single one of my court dates against my predators. I literally was forced to break the law because cops wouldn't do their jobs. They wanted to send me to fucking mental health. And mental health goes out of their way not to listen to what I'm saying. If they don't do this, if these mental health places don't help someone who is being abused right away with turning it in, how is that my fucking fault? I am afraid that I'm going to be interrupted in the middle of a story while I'm trying to explain something. All right? And a lot of these situations, as long as people stop interrupting me and let me explain, their question will be fucking answered. But don't fucking grill me, for Christ's sake. You hear all these neurotypicals with power positions complaining about the same stuff I do. The cops want me to roll down my window. I can't. They want me to open my door. There's a safety issue with that because of the conduct specifically of those officers and how they treated me, how they acted like fucking children when I tried to turn their coworkers into them, when I tried to turn other crimes into them, and when they act like fucking petulant goddamn teenagers. And then they send me to mental health, and mental health sends me on fucking loops for months. Literally years at this point. I've been jumping through mental health loops to turn in criminals who won't leave me alone. And then cops pretend it's a mental health thing because I'm a disabled homeless man. It is a mental health thing. You have allowed these people to harm me repeatedly. You have lied and slandered me and done everything that you can to destroy evidence of your wrong fucking doing. These mandated reporters, when I tell them about this abuse and that I need help getting the body cameras, that I don't have any money to take care of myself, what do they want to do? They want to have me set up another expensive fucking meeting that eats up a lot of my fucking time, eats up my gas, and it contributes to wear and tear on my fucking vehicle as well as fucking more stress. How the fuck are they helping people? By forcing them into a situation where they're so stressed out they commit suicide. And then they want to fucking bully you when you have to try to turn in a cop. And then you have to try to turn in predators who are preying on the fact that cops won't listen. And you still have to turn it in. And you have to turn it in alone. And the cop you're trying to turn in shows up to fucking intimidate you. And he says, oh, well, this isn't cop. When there is a safety issue, a very clear safety violation.
Take the next right onto Laurel Avenue.
And they're allowed to bully you with fucking sarcasm like that. And how dare you get an attitude with them? Are you fucking kidding me? The cops didn't want to do their jobs and they didn't want to investigate. So they didn't investigate and they pawned me off on mental health. And mental health says it's not their job. But they won't tell the fucking cops that it's not their job in front of me. No, I have to go tell the cops that. And the cops tell me I'm wrong. And they send me right back. I'm going to go park over by Lillian A. Goodspeed Park.
In 400 feet, turn left onto Ocean Avenue.
I'll have to see more of my predators there, but there's parents with kids there. And those parents with kids there at least give me some sense of safety. thing is, I have to follow the protocols that a child is supposed to follow when they're abused. Because I am an at-risk adult and I will be treated like a child in a grown-up's body. Talked down to like a child, but I have a grown-up's body, so I should be punished like an adult. They can lie to me, and it's okay. You let them. Every time that I've tried to get help from law enforcement, I have been harmed by law enforcement. Sometimes they say it mean, sometimes they say it with a smile on their face. Without my friends and family acknowledging that I am a fucking human being, even that much, I just have to take the abuse. I have to take the abuse of being sent from one shitty place to another for them all to tell me that it's not their job, every one of them. And you guys have gotten to hear how many times I've been called the N-word in this fucking town. You get to see how I'm getting harassed, the N-word, over and over and over again on my phone. Now, why am I dealing with that? Because when them racist little shitheads wanted to use the N-word, I told them I didn't like that word. I also recorded the instances on my YouTube channel, so you can hear me over and over again telling them little shitwads I don't like that word. Now they're outright calling me the N-word, screaming it out over a fucking bullhorn. Matter of fact, I'm going to play that for you. You can hear the youth of Tillamookkk on my channel screaming at me through a bullhorn. That's right. It's not just the church staff that are racist. And no, not all of the church staff at every single church here are racist. I'm sure there's good people at them. Well, nice people. I can't say good. My phone is overheating like a motherfucker, and it might die just shortly because it's seriously getting that hot. But here at Lillian A. Goodspeed, there's no parents here right now. There's no kids here. School's in session. But it's a public park. You've seen me here on at least 3 or 4 occasions picking up drugs. I've got it recorded on this channel at least 5 or 6 occasions where people are getting fucked up on drugs. That one lady sat down right next to my vehicle to try to smoke her fucking blue pill right next to my vehicle through a piece of aluminum foil that had holes in it. And it was melting through and hitting the ground, and she was trying to dig that blue pill out of the cracks over there. Her name is Jamie. Yeah, I'm familiar with a lot of the homeless people out here who are on drugs. The services I'm sent to cater to drug addicts. It's because there's more money in helping the drug addicts at a dual diagnosis clinic than it is to help somebody who's got Tourette syndrome as well as autism. Meanwhile, they're not trained to deal with somebody with autism. That's how they treat it, dealing with us by shipping us to somewhere else. When we're harmed and we're in a state of crisis, it's not okay to pawn us off on mental health. We're in a state of crisis because we're being abused. When you don't see my disabilities, all you see is grown man. Then all of a sudden it makes it okay for you to pass judgment on me as if I'm some average Joe who's, well, my quirks are different, aren't they? I'm obviously not an average Joe. The average Joe doesn't have the balls to stand up to these people. I can tell you the names of the people who told me that I had to turn it into the state police. That would be Officer James Harrell, as well as, what was the other one? Officer Tony Lotham. And who was the other one? I believe Sadler. Several of them told me I had to go to the higher ups, or I had to go through the system. I had to go through when a crime was committed against me by an officer. I had to deal with, well, what do we call this? It's called corruption. When I have to go to my predator's friends to turn them in, and they blow me off and talk over me and berate me and bully me and try to send me to mental health again and again and again. And the mental health, they work closely with mental health. These people are friends with each other. They go to the same churches, for Christ's sake. So I'm told I just need to move elsewhere. I can't take care of myself. When I go elsewhere, this James Murphy motherfucker, what is to stop him from following me again? You say I shouldn't post up on the internet. I have to. Look at what happens every time that one of my predators ends up dead. People start threatening me and my friends and family again. None of you who watch these things happen on my channel, I record them live, and not one of you has ever called it in. None of you, ever. Who do you think you're supposed to fucking call it into? If I was your daughter recording that, who would you fucking call? Figure it out. If you gotta make a lot of calls, make a lot of calls. Coordinate with other people and fucking bombard these people with calls, the way that my predators did. Except show the whole truth instead of just little bits and pieces they want to cut out and say, look, he's bad. The federal government needs to step in. I've got a lot of red flag stuff that I have attempted. All right? I tried all of the legal routes. All of them. All of them that I had the possibility or capability of doing. But again, without a friend or family member there, I'll get talked over. I need someone to say, hey, take this fucking seriously. All right? You need to do your job as a mandated reporter. Sean can't fucking take care of himself. Sean can't defend himself. Sean cannot physically go through all of the extra hoops that you're demanding of him and pay all of the extras. It's expensive to be victimized, especially as a male, especially since slander will prevent you from being heard. I'm not asking for a free walk for any of the crimes that I've committed. I'm asking that something be done about the many multitudes of people who have done this to me. I am asking that if it is illegal for me, then it be illegal for the people who did it to me to begin with. I am asking that these people do their jobs to investigate crimes against at-risk adults, even if they're on the fucking streets, for Christ's sake. Ignoring crimes against us until we have a mental fucking breakdown, and then arresting us as criminals is fucking criminal. Don't get on here and make jokes during a critical situation. Don't get on here and type 4,000 times. Officer Neubauer is another one of them that I have recorded on my channel, saying that I had to go to the state police. James Harrell didn't just tell me to go to the state police. I told him, hey, you know what? I was told there's 2 of you sergeants. I've already talked to you. I talked to the other sergeant after Lotham was allowed to threaten, harass, and intimidate me and bully me at my fucking window when I was trying to turn him in. I had to deal with Lothman repeatedly at the hospital, in those parking lots. Well, I'm trying to turn him in. And of course, to this day, the whole runaround. Meanwhile, they're preying on the fact that I don't have the most simple things and can't take care of myself. I can't do these things no matter how much they try to bully me into it. I'm not fucking capable. I don't have the money to spend on the stuff you're bullying me into doing instead of doing your fucking jobs. And what did Sergeant Harold do? He outright told me that I don't want to investigate him. Or that I don't want him to investigate it. He outright told me. And I explained to him, hey, they're not going to let me until you guys sign off on it, which means I have to go through the chain of command, which is what I'm trying to do. Instead, he wanted to talk me out of it and talk over me and talk me out of it and talk over me. Repeatedly, I've been given pieces of paper that I went in to try to turn in an officer who had committed a wrongdoing. And I say, hey, Sheriff DaCosta, I brought in the piece of paperwork you wanted. Now, will you please investigate these people and arrest them? Oh, this isn't for arresting them. This isn't a criminal complaint. Really? Really, Scott DaCosta? You give me this piece of paper and you tell me that it's not a criminal complaint? After I've filled it out, after explaining to you that I'm trying to turn in your deputies for committing felonies against me, you give me a piece of paper that isn't even legally binding? They try to replace the paperwork for when you're trying to write a report about crimes committed against you or others. They will outright lie to you and tell you that you can't make a report for someone else. You're not making a report for someone else. You're making a report for you and for the safety of the American citizens. And if you're in a foreign country and you're trying to turn this in, explain to them that the abuse that I'm going through and the way that I am forced to act, the things that I am forced to do, are harming disabled people across the world. The people look at me and they pretend that all autistic people are like this naturally. No, we're not. We're abused into it. Because I do not have a place where I can sit down and organize this. And they don't try to understand that. They take complete advantage of it. I can't take care of myself. I literally can't. Especially with all of my money being eaten up. Plus, with me being stuck in a vehicle, forced to move all the fucking time. How could I possibly do that? Having to move from parking lot to parking lot to parking lot so people aren't offended by the fact that I'm there. It's private property. There's no property for me to park on. No place for me to sit down and hook up my fucking internet and not have to look over my shoulder for a fucking crackhead. And those of you who in houses who are going to go, oh, well, I have to worry about that too. No, you don't. No, you don't. You can retreat to the safety of your fucking house. The hate crimes recorded against me in this channel. You get to see how I was bullied into those situations. How I had to be afraid for myself and others. How I tried to mind my business. And how other people committing crimes has repeatedly gotten me harmed. When Christian threatened to kill them youngins, that's how we first started talking with them youngins, huh? Before that, it was me bitching about them tearing up the parking lot, fucking trashing the place, driving around my vehicle, fucking making laps around my vehicle, and fucking honking and screaming fucking racist bullshit. Well then, when Christian threatened them youngins wanted to come up and be all intimidating on me. No, dude. Fuck you. That's the reason I record. Can I defend myself against them little shitheads? No, I can't. I cannot physically defend myself against them. I'm told I have to buy a bunch of this and a bunch of that's from people. Oh, well, if you don't have this, you're not trying to take care of yourself. If you don't have that, you're not trying to take care of yourself. Hey, I'm buying this stuff. I don't have a place to put it. My storage is on the second fucking floor. I can't take care of myself because I will eventually have a fucking meltdown over this. And I will huddle in my car and rock back and forth. You say we have a one-track mind, and we absolutely do. When it comes to abuse. Because we get tired of it. We get tired of trying to turn in people who harm us, and we're treated like it's no big thing. We're treated like the disabilities that we have, that, oh, it's no big thing, everyone's like that. No, not everyone's like that. For those police officers claiming they're not able to hear me, and me speaking up, knowing full well they actually can. I've had people sit in my vehicle and talk in regular tone while those vehicles are going by. And there was a lot less traffic when those officers were claiming that they couldn't hear me. What they're doing is lying to you, trying to get you to open the door so they can step in it or put their hand on it. And if you try to close the door, they're going to press you with assault, and they're going to fucking slam you to the ground, and they're going to fucking taser you, and they're going to fucking arrest you and charge you with assault against a police officer. Opening the door is always a trick, no matter what lie they tell you. When they threaten to break your fucking window, how many times have they threatened to break my window because of a place where I was told I was allowed to be? On this channel. Cops in Wyoming offering to do that to me. I was told after my vehicle broke down there at the Starbucks there. Now, mind you, the interim manager there was a homosexual who didn't like hobos. So anyway, there's a lady named Priscilla there. Now, a young woman there had told me that it was all right for me to stay there overnight because of a gas issue. Nobody called it in. Nobody called for the cops to come harass me. The cops just came and did it and threatened me over and over and over again at my fucking window, harassing me. I showed them the note that the young lady had given me, and they said, well, how do we know you didn't write that? Same thing that I had to deal with when I tried to turn in the stuff that people sent me. There were lots of people who sent me stuff so that I could turn it into the cops. Every time it's, oh, how do we know you didn't write that? That's why you have to go in with the victim. No matter what, they're looking for any excuse not to do their fucking jobs. They're neglecting their duties, and it got me harmed and still gets me harmed. Someone needs to be there to prevent them from talking over me, from them selling a false narrative over the top of me, from them pretending that I'm a liar no matter what. I don't see any of the local drug addicts here, but if you guys watched my channel yesterday, you know that I started off one of my videos by picking up a fucking meth pipe. A lot of y'all, you want to pretend that because we don't necessarily get social cues. No, it's not social cues, okay? When somebody is trying to tell you about abuse that they're going through, there's no social cues there. It's not your turn to talk at all. It's your time to listen, not look for an excuse to interrupt them and repeatedly. You can hear that when I'm talking to these mandated reporters and I'm saying something important. How they're putting those little through the whole goddamn thing. They know what they're doing is wrong. They know that that is antagonistic, especially to somebody who is autistic. These people are trained. They also know how to type up on Google and find the stuff that most of you have access to because you don't know what to look up. Each of these mandated reporters wants to lie to me, first of all, and second of all, they want to twist my words into something they ain't and talk over me and do the bip bip biddy biddy biddy. That's all, folks. I ain't playing that. I'm tired of that. They got busted lying. They need to shut the fuck up and listen and do their fucking jobs. Obviously, since they got busted lying, I can't trust them. Forcing me to go back to people who have shown me they cannot be trusted is fucking wrong. Police officers lying to people, the Bollingers lying to people, and me being harmed because of it. Meanwhile, they all get away with it because I'm a mentally ill person who can't get a lawyer, who has no money, who has no friends. I don't even have the option of having friends because I have to be afraid at all points in time. I can't make friends when I am scared. I can't function when I am scared. And being grilled while I am scared only makes me more scared. And the more scared I am, the more communication difficulties I'm going to have. And the more communication difficulties I have, the more you're going to talk over me and grill me and bully me and try to send me somewhere else. The more you're going to talk in circles with your fucking excuses and then tell me I'm talking in circles. No, you're not letting me finish a goddamn thing that I'm saying. You're not understanding that I have sensory processing issues. That doesn't mean I don't know what's going on around me. That means I'm overwhelmed with what's going on around me, and drugs don't fix that. A lot of people out here want to push me to smoke pot. Let me tell you something. A lot of people try to push pills on me too. Pills don't fix that. Pot doesn't fix that. If it fixes it for you, then good. But it doesn't work for everybody. My circumstances have been ignored. The actual evidence has been ignored. The people I've sent to that are supposed to help me, that are supposed to investigate it, refuse to look at any of the evidence. Because if they do, they have to do their jobs. They refuse to listen to what I'm telling them and interrupt me when I start giving details, telling me don't give me names. Telling me not to tell him anymore and not send him anymore. They don't have that option. I am a disabled adult and they are mandated goddamn reporters. But you give them that option by not calling it in with me, allowing them to give me the mentally ill treatment, but not the rights of a mentally ill person. They pretend that my physical and mental disabilities do not exist so they don't have to do their jobs. They refuse to look at any evidence that shows that I'm telling the truth. How the fuck is that help? They know exactly what they're doing. Call this in. They're fleecing the American public. We have at least 100 people on this channel typing about running around in circles like this. How they specifically do this primarily to the homeless and the broke. People like Lori who, yeah, they call her mentally ill. And her son Lucas, they call him mentally ill. And the police fuck with him. And the neighbors fuck with him. Yeah, I get that Lori is a fucking chatterbox that never stops. I get that. But they can retreat to inside of their houses. In Chapel, Nebraska, you get to see how my train got derailed literally by the train going by. You can hear me time and again when the train goes by saying, fucking train. Sorry, I saw a black Volkswagen Beetle drive by and I was checking to see if it was Dallas Palmer in it. There's a lot of witnesses to all these situations. And you get to hear how they said they'd help to turn it in from the beginning, and there's always all these excuses why they can't. If there's a day that we set up an appointment and I'm not able to make it, something happens, I'm detained by the police, or I'm being harassed by Molly again, and I'm not able to make it, or I'm told that I have to make a phone call right away, and I'm busy making that phone call when I'm supposed to be at that meeting, or I am overwhelmed because I was just victimized again, and the meeting is not even something that's on my mind at that point. What's on my mind at that point is that a crime just happened to me, and I still don't have anyone I can go to who will make the call immediately. I am an at-risk adult who is easy to talk over. I have to have someone that I can call immediately when a crime is committed. Like you would if you were raped and you had to call your mother or your father and say, hey, I was raped, I'm homeless, the cops are real shitty to the homeless here. They'll grill me as if I chose it. They'll grill me as if I'm a criminal. I need you to be there so they don't do that. These cops are real bad to the homeless, Dad. Or, hey, Dad, they're treating me like I'm homeless. You know, I was on vacation doing the van life thing. I was just going to do it for a summer before going to college. Well, Dad, they're treating me like I'm a homeless person. They're treating me like I'm a druggie. They're not listening to me, Dad. They're arresting me, Dad. Dad, please help. Dad, they're sending me to the state patrol to turn them in, and the state troopers say that it's not their jobs. Dad, please help. They've been sending me back and forth for 6 months on this. Dad, please help. But I'm not a woman, so I'm not allowed to say that. I'm not van lifing it. I've been forced into homelessness. A lot of people who did wrong shit to me will literally blow off anything that I say when I talk to them. Like, of course, you got to hear with, what's her name? Amanda Engeline. How I explained that I was forced into homelessness repeatedly because of Natalie's death and because of this bullying. She said, well, no, you were homeless before that. No. You do not get to bring up that situation as an excuse to blow off the abuse that forced me into homelessness, because I was unhomeless several times. I was unhomeless before Natalie died for months. From October of 2016 to October of 2017, with that housing there in Chapel, Nebraska. I had it thrown in my face that Brenda Dickinson and Lori Elliott pitched that $200 so that I could pay the first month's rent and get the deposit and all that. Later on, with Meg Missigatis and the Autism Society, they did the same thing so I could get into the same place. It's an assisted living place. But there was no assistance. They kept on setting me up for programs that didn't follow through. And Meg Missigatis was not helping me. She was too busy trying to pity party and make me feel bad for even calling her. These people tried to make me feel like I had done something wrong by calling them when I was being harmed and when I needed help. Sean, I have my own problems. Yeah, that's why it's not appropriate for me to be sent to an autism advocate who doesn't advocate. Who's going to try to make the victim feel bad for trying to get help, which is what all of you do. Oh, Sean, I have kids. I know you have kids. Captain fucking obvious. I also know that you haven't been my friend in years. When my back got hurt in 2015, all of my friends threw me away. Every fucking one of them, because I couldn't perform free manual labor for them. I couldn't go to fucking work. And they just wanted to bully me to get a job. I'd had a job the whole time I was homeless. But instead of listening to me, instead of acknowledging that I am disabled and acknowledging my disabilities, you ignore what I tell you and want to make suggestions other than turning in the abuse. Any suggestion other than turning in the abuse to the police, to the state police, to the media, anything other than making any goddamn effort you can to help turn it in, results in dead bodies. You stupid pieces of shit. If it's a female, you'll help her right away. If it's a male, you tell him he needs to shut up. He needs to go to the back of the bus. How dare you have problems? How dare you complain you're white? How dare you complain you're a male? How dare you complain you're a heterosexual? How dare you complain you're a homosexual? People give me all sorts of excuses, and all of them are wrong. I'm neither a heterosexual nor a homosexual. Not that it's any of your fucking business. I don't go shoving my sexuality in your face. But you start telling me who I am interested in as a bullying tactic, as an excuse for harm against me. Fuck you. No excuse is good enough for you to do this. No excuse is good enough. Obviously, I have communication issues because I am stuck in public. When I had housing, the problem wasn't that I was stuck in public. It's that I was stuck in housing without any friends. None. They were only my friends on the internet. While people got a hold of me on the internet to threaten me and harass me, making fake account after fake account. And then my friends would tell me, hey, Sean, come see me. And I would spend $100 a trip to go see these people for them not to fucking show up. No call, no shows. Like Natalie Bollinger did before she went to Virginia. Like Pierre Byron did before Natalie was killed. Like Joanna Taylor Smith did repeatedly before Natalie was killed. I tried keeping these people's names private, but the police wouldn't stop hurting me. They wouldn't stop lying about me, and no investigator would try. Not one investigator with the public pretenders' offices. Out of all the public pretenders I had, not a single investigator ever showed up to our appointment. I had over a 60% rate of public pretenders not showing up for court. I had over a 60% rate of them not showing up to our appointments. In all of these cases being no call, no shows. In all of these cases dragging it on. In all of these cases, I am being prevented from turning in criminal acts against me because they're holding court shit over my head. Based on slander. And every one of these places downplays the bullying by these web sleuth groups. How they coordinated to try to fucking frame me as a murderer. How they went out of their way to destroy evidence and the cops helped them. God damn it! And my friends did too! Instead of taking it seriously, you want to bully me into doing something else.
I can't call 911 about the safety issues because not a goddamn one of you will call it in with me and say, hey, this is real. Fucking listen to him.